what I loved about the documentary also was I got to know him. You know, I spent a lot of time with him. And I know that he's a complex human being. And when they talk about him being a big drinker, none of that was made up. I mean, he literally drank more than any human I ever was around. I don't drink, so it wasn't like we were going back and forth. And he had, I think it was like 18 beers, 12 sambucas, a few mixed drinks, and with a guy who's not drinking. And then we went to dinner at a place called Della Fema. There was a famous ad man who had a restaurant on the island, Jerry Della Fema. I don't know if you remember him. But in any case, he ordered wine that ended up being like $3,000 of wine over for two of us. Wow. And then I looked at him like, what am I fucking going to do with this check? Rolling Stone will not pay this expense. And another great thing he did for me, he goes, I know, Jan, I got the check. Wow. Thank God. Wow. But the end of that night ended up with me and the two of us at a Holiday Inn where I was staying near the Armory where he was rehearsing. And he was so drunk, I did go to the front desk and said, can I get a room for Mr. Joel? Because he should not be driving back to his place. And they said, we're sold out for the night. So if he's staying here, he's staying in your bed. If I'd had two beds, I might have entertained it. I let him drive and he got home. And one of the many times.
Jesus.
But
you couldn't take one for the team and sleep with Billy Joel?
Sleep on the floor so Billy Joel
you could have gotten him a cab. Let's just be honest here. Pay for the man to get a cab.
An Uber, I could have done.
He's like, Rolling Stone wouldn't have paid for the cab. God damn it, Rolling Stone.
I think a lot of people would have said, move over.
That's right. I'll be the little
spoon. I spent the night with Billy Joel.
I would have slept with Springsteen. That's the difference. I definitely would have
spoon.
You
would have slept.
By the way, remember when he was on tour with Elton? Elton, in the middle of the tour, put out a thing in the paper saying Billy Joel needs to get straight.
Stop drinking.
He publicly chastised him because nothing was working.
Didn't he say that Billy climbed under the piano and like tied Elton's shoes together during like he did that on stage, and Elton was not.
That's what a drunk guy does.
Yeah,
but
I do feel like Elton John and Billie Jean King are morphing into the same person. I'm just going to say that.
I'm a fan of both.
Hey, same. Both of them could be Bobby Riggs in tennis.
The last thing I'll say to overshare about Billy is that when he was at his most drunk, he had earlier in the day said, I don't give a shit about critics. Fuck critics. Yeah. At 1 a.m, 2 a.m, in a restaurant that was closed where he was knocking back sambuca and coffee. I don't even know, some kind of liqueur, right? Yeah. And he said, he was quoting every bad review.
Of course.
Because you remember.
He is a sensitive.
Yes, of course.
He's not the tough guy Sinatra.
He has to be, because look at the things he created.
Yes.
It's like you have to be porous as you are all creatives. That in order to be porous.
You can't turn it off.
Yeah. And to be on top of your game and to be that assassinated repeatedly. I think Billy Joel and Phil Collins might be the two that got the least respect and have the most, like, whatever that term is my kid uses, the most prizes or whatever. Like when somebody wins, it's like Phil Collins could not have done better in the 80s and could not have come out of that process feeling less positive about Phil Collins.
He was incredible, and he's having another life now because his songs are like making it onto TikTok and whatnot. I mean, he's like, but just another like whole generation of.
Well, by the way, over time, I think real talent wills out. Neil Diamond was a guy who I got to know extremely well, who got no credit.
Writer.
Right,
image-wise, was in the wrong place for many decades, and yet ultimately, I think people are completely rediscovering the genius of it.
Yes.
Yeah, Neil Diamond's another one where he was a bulletproof writer, and all those the Monkey songs, it's like they just I think that's the thing that shows up, but it's so hard to know because so much of it has to do with how you're presented, so much of it has to do with the era in which you grew up, in which you became successful. I think it's songs. I think songs really do stand the test of time, but there's a lot of songs that don't. So I don't know the answer to it, but it's nice to think that craft wins because it gives you this feeling that we spend so much energy trying to craft our stuff that maybe that's the thing that's going to be immortal, but and the people we're talking about all do it better than anyone. Springsteen as well, that, you could pull, there's albums worth of Springsteen greatness. We could talk about it forever, but if you can, anybody that's, I'm not a religious person, but anybody that's channeled God in that many ways, that many times, right? Who's been able to sort of like connect to the greater whole. Springsteen, it's just like, I don't think you could listen to Born to Run. I don't think you could listen to Jungle Land. I don't think you could listen to Devils and Dust. I don't think you could listen to that and think anything other than like, well, the work has paid off for this person. You know?
But also, look, he's touring right now.
Yeah.
And he's 100% relevant to the time he's living in.
Yeah.
The people are so inspired. The reviews of the concerts right now are best show I ever saw in my life. It was like going to a political rally and church and a giant rock and roll show all in one.
He also knows who he is. He knows who he is. My friend went to the show in LA, and he was like one of my friends. We all have friends who are a little bit older who inspire you, and he's turned me on to so much music. I'm going to shout him out, Peter Begler. He went to the show, and he's like, what I loved was hearing Bruce sing songs, the new songs that I didn't know. Yeah. The reason I love listening to him sing is that he wrote these songs for his voice right now.
Yes.
So he's singing the new song. He's like, I loved them. I'd never heard these songs before.
25 years ago, he's already passed Born to Run and that whole, and The River and all of that.
And The Rising.
The Rising.
Yep.
Oh, I just listened to The Rising, top to bottom.
Yes.
That song, The Rising.
Yeah.
About 9/11.
Yes.
Like you hear that song, you're like, if I didn't know that was about 9/11.
It's still a great song.
On its own.
Yes.
That song.
That's the genius of that album. He never says 9/11.
Not once. Not once does he say Twin Towers. That's hard to do that. Jay, you saw Neil Young after Katrina. So Neil Young puts out a song like 3 days after Katrina, and I'm like, maybe workshop it for a week.
Yeah. And that's where Neil Young is genius.
So did Paul McCartney.
Neil Young and Paul McCartney have a different kind of genius where no one edits those people. So it's like, so Neil Young can write something like, you know, he can do Harvest Moon, which is the latest example of something that's really beautiful and sort of unbelievable. And then he'll do like, and Hank to Hendrix, which was also good. And then sometimes you'll be like Let It Roll, that song he wrote about, like it's just a little bit too like
song about his dog King. Like, I put on Harvest Moon and my wife, because on our record player, and it gets to the song about King was an old dog and he was a friend of mine, and my wife is like, turn this shit off, like turn it off right now. I'm like, he made one bad song on the album,
right? But this is the thing,
woman.
This is the thing that makes him such a treasure of a human, is that he has no filter. And like McCartney's the same way. He just writes. There was a scene in that Dave Grohl documentary where they're sitting around the mic and they're talking and they're singing harmonies on a Nirvana song that Paul was fronting. They were like recording a thing with Chris and Dave and Pat. And there's a moment where Dave Grohl turns to McCartney and he goes, I wish it could always be this easy. And Paul McCartney turns to him and goes, it is.
Right.
And like, because to him,
if you're Paul McCartney,
but to him, it's not. Like to him, the act of creativity is so it's unburdened by judgment and assassination. And Neil Young is in the same place. It's different than Springsteen's is so wrought with his self-hatred.
Yeah.
But Neil Young and people like that, those people, and Prince, there's an element of unfettered confidence in who they are that's just
flows out.
Magical.
That Paul McCartney documentary is on Apple. Is the Beatles. There's a Paul
the Wings one.
The Wings one is unbelievable.
Incredible.
Where he goes off up in northern England and he lives on the sheep farm.
Where they do the ram? Or
Scotland. Where they go and they live in Scotland and like it's unbelievable.
To me, I always thought, because of what I was seeing, that John was the smartest one, that John was the genius of the. But when you see Get Back, and you see Paul McCartney will that song into being, because it has to be now, right in front of you. It's like someone is doing a magic trick right in front of you, and you have no idea how they did it.
Oh yeah.